Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a relationship where one side thinks they're doing all the heavy lifting, but the other side says, "Hold on, I've been pulling my own weight too"? That's the kind of situation we're talking about when we look at the relationship between the United States and India. Now, you put those two together, you got power, you got influence, you got history, you got potential. But you also got egos, interests, pride, and a whole lot of different visions of how the world ought to be run. And when two powerful folks come together but don't quite align, you better believe sooner or later there's gonna be some sparks flying. See, the question ain't just about what went wrong, it's about who really carries the blame. Who's responsible for this so-called breakup? Was it America and that whole "we the leaders, we the boss, we tell everybody what to do" attitude? Or was it India rising up saying, "Nah man, we ain't just your sidekick anymore, we global too, and we gon' walk our own path"? That right there is the tension, that's the heartbeat of this whole situation. Now let's break this down plain. Imagine two friends in high school. One's been the captain of the basketball team forever. Everybody looks up to him, everybody listens when he talks. The other friend, he used to be quiet, kinda stayed in the background, but slowly he starts building himself up. He's lifting weights, getting strong, getting smarter, people start noticing him, and one day the quiet friend says, "Man, I ain't sitting in the back no more, I want my own spotlight." That's America and India right there. America's been on top of the world stage for decades, the big dog, the shot caller, and India, after years of playing it humble, is now like, "Hold up, we ain't no background character, we a lead role too." So, who's responsible for the breakup? Is it the captain for not recognizing his friend's growth, or is it the rising star for refusing to share space, insisting on independence? That's the tension we gotta wrestle with. America, let me be honest, got a history of this. They like to make friends, but only if those friends agree with everything they say. You ever had a friend like that? You try to hang out, but every time you all go out, they pick the restaurant, they pick the movie, they even pick the playlist in the car. That's America in international politics. They want allies, but allies that follow their lead. Now, that might work with some countries, but India, nah, India's the friend that says, "Look, we love hanging with you, but don't you dare think you running my life." And India, oh man, they got pride. You can't tell them what to do. This is a civilization that been around thousands of years before America was even a thought. They ain't about to let some young nation tell them how to walk, talk, and breathe. India knows its history, its culture, its strength, and right now it knows it got options. America wants India to cut ties with certain countries, to stand only with them, but India's like, "Man, I'm gonna trade with who I want, partner with who I want, and you just gonna have to respect that." That independence, that stubbornness, that's what makes India stand tall, but it's also what puts friction on the relationship. See, this breakup ain't about love lost, it's about respect not being equal. America thinks it's losing control, India thinks it's gaining freedom, and when one side feels threatened and the other side feels underestimated, oh boy, that's a recipe for fireworks. Now, let me throw some realness in here. Breakups don't happen overnight, it's little things piling up. America been wanting India to choose between East and West, but India said, "We ain't choosing, we staying neutral when we want, we getting involved when we want." And that frustrates America. They want loyalty, but India wants flexibility, and if you can't compromise in a relationship, sooner or later, you start drifting apart. But let me tell you this breakup ain't just about politics. It's about ego, who gets to be the global voice, who gets to write the rules, who gets to decide which wars are right, which sanctions are fair, which alliances matter. America used to have the final word. Now India's out here saying, "We got a word too, and it's loud, and it's global." That right there, that shakes up the system, but let's not just blame America or India. Sometimes the problem ain't just one side, it's both. America guilty of being too controlling, India guilty of being too independent. You know that couple where one says, "Why you always so bossy?" and the other says, "Why you always so stubborn?" That's exactly what we got here. Both sides pointing fingers, but neither willing to look in the mirror. And let me say this, just because they breaking up don't mean they hate each other. Nah, Deep down, there's still admiration. America knows India is powerful. India knows America got influence. But admiration don't always mean cooperation. Sometimes admiration means, I respect you, but I can't live with you. And maybe that's what this breakup really is about. Not enemies, not rivals, but two forces realizing they can't always walk the same path. Now, who's responsible? If you ask America, they'll say, India got too close to the wrong people, made decisions that hurt our trust. If you ask India, they'll say, America never treated us equal, always wanted to use us for their battles. The truth? Both sides created this mess. Both sides poured fuel on this fire. Both sides responsible for the breakup. But let me leave you with this thought. Maybe the breakup ain't the end. Maybe it's just the start of a new relationship, one with boundaries, one with respect. Sometimes you gotta break up to understand your worth, to come back stronger, or to move on and find your own destiny. India and America ain't done with each other, not by a long shot. The world too connected, their interests too deep. They may fight, they may separate, but trust me, they'll always find a way to come back to the table, because power respects power. And at the end of the day, the real responsibility for the breakup. It ain't about blame, it's about growth. Because when two giants grow, sometimes they grow apart. But that don't mean the story's over. It just means the next chapter's about to be written. Now, let me tell you something, folks. When people hear the word breakup, the first thing they think is somebody done betrayed somebody. Somebody done lied, cheated, snuck out at night, broke that trust, messed up the whole deal. That's how we think breakups go down. But let me shift your perspective for a second, because not every breakup in life is about betrayal. Sometimes it's about growth. Sometimes it's about two folks realizing they ain't walking the same road anymore, and instead of pointing fingers, they decide to claim their own lane. That's exactly what happened when we look at this whole United States and India situation. People love drama, they want to make it a soap opera, like America got stabbed in the back, or India got left out in the cold. But the truth is way more complicated. This breakup wasn't about somebody being sneaky, this was about equality. This was about India standing up and saying, hold on man, I ain't just a sidekick no more. I've been building myself up, I've been putting in the work, I've been shaping my future, and I'm not gonna let anybody treat me less than I am. That ain't betrayal, that's self-respect. See, when America came into the picture strong after the Second World War, they had the crown. They was sitting at the top of the mountain, nobody could question them. They was the referee, the coach, the captain, all in one. But when you at the top for too long, you start believing that the world can't move without you. That's where the problem begins. Because India, they was growing, they was pushing, they was hustling, they was carving out their own identity. They ain't trying to be just another follower in America's fan club. They wanted to be treated like equals, and when that equal treatment wasn't showing up, well, friction was bound to happen. Let me put this in plain everyday talk. Imagine you got a best friend, y'all been rolling together for years, but every time y'all go out, he gotta drive, he gotta choose the spot, he gotta pick what y'all eating, and he gotta pick who's invited. At first, you let it slide, cause you ain't worried about the details. You thinking, cool, he paying for the gas, let him decide. But after a while you like, hold up, I got money too, I got taste too, I got preferences too. Why I got to keep riding shotgun while he always in the driver's seat. That ain't betrayal to start questioning that it's equality. You just saying, I deserve the same respect you demand. That's where India was. America expected loyalty. America expected India to line up on every issue, whether it was about trade, security, or global politics. But India was like, nah, we gonna make choices that are good for us first. That ain't betrayal, that's independence. If anything, it's America struggling with the fact that their friend don't wanna be a junior partner no more. Now here's the kicker, America wasn't used to that. They built alliances where they the quarterback and everybody else just run routes for them. They call the plays, everybody else catches the ball, but India ain't trying to be no wide receiver. They said, man, I'm a quarterback too. I got my own playbook, I got my own strategies, and I'm gonna run my team the way I want. That shook America. They weren't betrayed, they were challenged, and they ain't like the way that felt. You ever been in a relationship where one person always makes the decisions, where to go, what to eat, when to leave, how much to spend, and the day you finally say, hey, maybe I'll decide tonight, they look at you like you done lost your mind? That's how America looked at India, like, how dare you not agree with me after all I've done for you? But see, equality don't mean you disrespect what came before, it just means you stepping up and saying, I ain't sitting in silence no more, I'm speaking with the same authority as you. And let me tell you, India been building for this moment a long time. Economically, militarily, culturally, technologically, India been putting bricks on the foundation for decades. They got a young population, they got ambition, they got resilience. And when you got that kind of energy in your corner, sooner or later you gonna stand up and demand your place at the table. You ain't just gonna sit there eating the scraps, you gonna say, slide me a plate too, same size as yours. That's the heart of this breakup. It ain't you hurt me, it's you don't respect me enough. Now people say, but wait, didn't India keep ties with America's rivals? Didn't India do things that hurt American trust? Let me tell you, that ain't betrayal. That's called options. See, America thought India would cut everybody else off just to stay close to them. But India said, man, I ain't cutting nobody off, I'm doing business with who I want, I'm making friends where I want, and I don't need your permission slip. That's independence, that's equality. America felt betrayed because they thought friendship meant obedience. India saw friendship as partnership, and that difference in definitions is where the split happened. Think about it. If you're friends with somebody and they say, hey, you can't hang with him, you can't talk to her, you can't go there, eventually you're gonna be like, man, I'm grown, I'll do what I want. That don't mean you don't value the friendship, it means you value yourself too much to let somebody else box you in. That's what India was saying. They were saying, we appreciate the partnership, but we ain't living under your rules anymore. The truth is, America didn't lose India because of betrayal. They lost India because they didn't adjust to India's growth. They wanted the same dynamic that existed decades ago, where America led and India followed. But when India outgrew that role, America struggled to accept it, and that's a pattern you see in life all the time. Parents struggle when their kids grow up and start making their own choices. Bosses struggle when employees outgrow their positions. Friends struggle when the balance shifts, but growth don't mean betrayal. It means the relationship gotta change or it ain't gonna last. Now let me go even deeper with this. Equality ain't easy, especially when power is involved. When you've been the one in charge, the one calling shots, equality feels like losing control. But from the other side, when you've been underestimated for so long, equality feels like freedom. America felt like it was losing something, India felt like it was finally gaining something. That difference in perspective created the tension that people now call a breakup. But the word breakup makes it sound like love turned to hate. That ain't the case here. It ain't about love lost. It's about respect demanded. India didn't walk away because they didn't value America. India walked away because they valued themselves. That ain't betrayal, that's growth. And let me tell you why this matters for everybody watching. Because we all been in situations where somebody didn't see our worth. We all been in places where we had to choose between staying quiet or standing up for ourselves. And when you stand up, when you demand that equality, people who benefited from your silence gonna call you disloyal. They gonna call you selfish. They gonna call you ungrateful. But don't let that fool you. That ain't betrayal. That's just them being uncomfortable with your growth. That's exactly what India did. They looked at America and said, we ain't trying to betray you. We just ain't gonna let you treat us like the junior partner anymore. We got our own seat at the table, we got our own voice in the conversation, and if you can't respect that, then maybe we gotta redefine this whole relationship. And see, redefining don't mean ending, redefining means rebalancing. It means we ain't gonna operate on old terms, we creating new ones. That's what equality looks like. It ain't easy, it ain't comfortable, but it's necessary. Because without equality, the relationship was always gonna be fragile.